Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
Good morning, I'm Terry Sullivan on Dick's radio show here on Seclo Sounds. Can't believe it's February already. Where's the year going? It'll soon be Christmas. Oh, hopefully I just said that nasty word. Sorry about that. Today on the show, we've got two great guests. Later on in the hour, I'm going to be talking to my old friend Kevin Hall, and I've talked about his new project called The Dark Side Owls. But my first guest is a lady from Yorkshire. She's making a lot of noise. Well, a lot of noise in the music business. She's got a brand new album out. She's coming to the area very soon. The new album is called Like No Other. We'll be talking about that in a little while. But let's first play a track from the album. This is a song called Take the Power.
Them raise you, craving your love. They're falling deeper, sent from above. You're so high they can't reach you. Your sacrifice, counting the victims, leaving their lives, nails under their skin. You should have known, you've watched them sleeping, righteous or known, divine intervention. Control them, take the power. Control. You'll drag them through hell, indignant rejection, you know them too well. Holy seduction, crush someone else, your intimidation. Watching them live with silent conviction, the gift that you give, who are they to question? Look in their eyes, desire and delusion, lights in the pie, discreet absolution. Control them, take the power. Control them, take the power. Control them, take the power. Control them, take the power.
My guest on today's show is a young lady from Yorkshire called Chantel McGregor. Good morning, Chantel.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm really well. How are you?
Good. I'm well, not too bad. Winter time's always an interesting time for me, but we won't dwell on that one. Let's talk about yourself. You've got a new album out. We've just heard one of the tracks from it called Take the Power. Tell us a little bit about the album. Let's talk about the track as well first.
Yeah, Yeah, well, the track, it's the first single off the album, and that we released a couple of months ago. And it's quite a dark, sort of gothic kind of track, and the video for it's very gothic, and it's all about tarot cards, and it was filmed up in Edinburgh and things, so it's all very spooky.
Yeah, I would call it, if I was going to be sort of generalise it, it's a power ballad.
It is a bit, yeah.
It's a Bonnie Tyler Meatloafy type thing, isn't it?
I'll be doing air grabbing next.
Will you? Yeah, I know. Get the old sweaty hanky out. No, horrible. But I mean, you've had quite a sort of a rise to fame very quickly. At the age of 8, you were the youngest person in the UK to pass the rock school exam.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's kind of because obviously you can do classical exams and things like that, but I chose to go down the electric route, so it's more, playing things like, well, I suppose when you get to grade 8, it's things like Steve Vai and things, but it's just more rock based than the classical usual exams.
At the age of 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a strange child.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying a gifted child, perhaps. I mean, at the age of 8, I was thinking about how I could win at marbles, but that's a different story, won't it? I mean, then at the age of 12, you were jamming around in your native Bradford with a load of gifted musicians.
I was, yeah. That's kind of what I cut my teeth on, was jam sessions. So I kind of grew up through that whole thing of sort of being 12 to sort of 15, 16 when I started doing sort of GCSEs and stuff. And I was always jamming with older musicians and things, so it was always kind of a learning thing for me in that sort of live environment. Lots of improvisation and things like that, so it was great fun.
So where were you doing this? In pubs?
In pubs, yeah, in Bradford. It was great.
At the age of 12?
It was weird then, because you could go in pubs when you were 12. I don't think kids are allowed in anymore.
Well, I think you can go in certain areas to a certain time, and as long as you're not on the drink.
I won't go there with that one then.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it would be too much of a temptation, even at 14, for me to go into a pub and not have it. No, never mind. I'm going to get myself into a lot of trouble if I'm not careful. Then at the age of 14, you were told by one of the major labels that you had a great voice, but girls don't play a guitar like that.
Yeah, sadly, I was told that. It was crazy because I'd just played them like some Hendrix things and sort of really technical guitar stuff, and they were like, "Oh, men walk by a girl playing electric guitar, so go listen to some acoustic things and write some songs like that." And it was like, I'm a kid, I want to play what I want to play, so I kind of got really stubborn about it and said, I'm going to do what I want. So I've done that ever since. That
seems very strange. You got the likes of Susie Quattro, I remember when I was a boy, and then you got Joan Jett. I mean, she used to play the guitar and.
Precisely, yeah. There's no reason why a girl can't play.
I mean, that might be their big mistake, these record companies. There's been a few faux pas over the years. The guy who turned away the Beatles and a few other things like that. Then you went to Leeds College of Music.
I did, yeah, because it was one of them daft things of I couldn't do GCSE music when I was at school because sadly the music teacher died. So it was like, right, I'll do English A-levels and study English and be quite good at that. And then after A-levels, it was like, what shall I do now? Shall I go and get an English degree and be an English teacher, or shall I do what I've always been passionate about, which is music? So I thought, I'll go do music, and I went down the education side of that in Leeds College of Music. And
you were the first student to receive a 100% pass mark.
I was a real geek.
Wow, and 18 distinctions. Well, when I was at college, I got one distinction, and that one, when it was a few years ago, and I'm very, very proud of that. In fact, it is in my office. Just right in the office, right so everybody can see it. I've got one distinction. I'm 18.
It was just one of them things. I was studying really hard, but I was gigging at the same time as well. So it was just like constantly everything was music, or either out playing, practicing, or studying.
I mean, I would guess that there's plenty of time. Practicing your bedrooms are one thing, but to actually go out and play in front of a live audience.
Yeah, you learn so much more from sitting in the bedroom and practicing scales.
Well, I think so. It's a bit like I remember when I passed my driving test years and years ago. I'd had my lessons, everything else, but it was when I got my licence, and since then, the last sort of 35 years, I've learned to drive. If you understand what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah, you can learn all the the basics. That's the way I see it. You've got to learn the basics to get out in the field, but once you're out in the field, you need to stay out in the field and not go back to the bedroom thing, because you'll never, if you lose your thing of playing with people and playing in public, it's very, very hard to get that back once you've gone back to the practicing in the bedroom stage.
Yeah, I think, I speak to a lot of musicians, and I think they all enjoy performing live rather than the recording and the other stuff of it, because you can see the instant reaction of the audience.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the thing is, it's like when you write a song, you can spend hours and days in rehearsal studios rehearsing it with a band, but you never ever get the feel of how it's actually working without playing it in front of people and trying it out and trying different things. So to me, that's the most important thing, is playing live.
Yeah. So how did you go from playing the pubs and the clubs to getting yourself an album deal, getting yourself first album out? You had an album out, it's now 5 years, nearly 5 years ago, called Like No Other. And I've seen somebody wrote about this album. It says, Chantel McGregor deserves to be held up as a messiah of blues, rock, and given her own mountain. She doesn't strum or pick the guitar, but almost bends and distorts it. And she's channeling the ghost of Hendrix through her fingers. I mean, that is some sort of, some interesting comment.
It is, yeah. I'm not sure I can do any of them things, but the first album came out 5 years ago.
2011 it was, 2000.
Yeah.
So it's 5 years ago.
Yeah, but it was one of them things, because I was out playing and I had quite a good following and things, and everybody was nagging for an album, and I was like, I suppose I better do one then. So it was kind of a forced album, was that one.
Yeah, but how did
you one as my first album in effect, because it feels more like a debut.
Yeah, because how did nowadays it's difficult to get record deals. I mean, the record companies are now, as you were told, girls don't play guitar like that. How did you manage to get this first album off the ground?
Well, basically, I ended up doing it myself. It was self-released on my own label, and we went through the whole process of basically doing it exactly from scratch, getting it manufactured, doing all the distribution ourselves, everything ourselves, which was a great learning curve, because it was like, now people are starting to want me to sign them to the label, which is very scary, because we've been through it twice and we know how to do it. They're now going, well, will you sign us and put our album out? And I'm thinking, I don't even have time to eat my dinner, let alone it out.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it's nice to be in control of your own destiny. I hear so many musicians who sort of gone through the big record companies or been with the big managers, etc., who've basically been ripped off. Exactly. I mean, a classic example is Les McKeown and the Bay City Rollers. I mean, they sold 120 million albums and walked away almost penniless.
Precisely.
That is unbelievable. How that can happen to anybody. Let's take a quick break. We're going to play another one of your songs from your new album. It's called Home. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it before we play it?
Yeah, this is probably the most personal song on the album, and it's all about being at home.
Being at home? Okay. Well, we'll play that, and then we'll come back and speak to Chantel after we've heard it.
Leaving all I've left behind. I didn't think I could do this by myself. And now that I can breathe, I have found release. There is peace alone. Through the cracks I see the light, illuminating all that's real. And now that I have known memories overthrown, I have found my way home. On the ground, there's no more moving.